first fish on a brand new rod. Just bought yesterday.
Did you buy that rod?
Yeah. Hey y'all, today we're gonna go through everyone's favorite frogs. These are hollow body frogs. Everybody loves throwing these, those blow ups. The fact that big mamas eat them gets you all excited. So let's get into these. All right, so first thing in the morning, that darker silhouette, I prefer a black frog. Black and yellow, something that dark silhouette. Late in the afternoon you get that dark silhouette. There's still day times that you just want that darker shade. This is the Boliwa Spit and Wah in the black and yellow. This is the 55 size. This bait can do a lot of damage, and also the 65, basically whether it's Spit and Wah or not, just like the regular Boliwa 2, the difference between these, if I have more slop, I'm gonna throw this style. If I want it to move faster in the water, I'm gonna throw this style, the regular Boliwa 2. If I'm in open water, I'm gonna throw the Spit and Wah. Again, either size, bigger or smaller, doesn't matter. It's what I'm gonna replicate, right? What shad size I'm looking at, what bait size I'm looking at. The Spitting Wah will actually walk slower because it has that extra resistance. You can kind of just walk it and keep it in its same place. You don't have to cover as much water, and especially if you're like trying to throw behind a weed line on the Delta or a weed hole on Clear Lake, or just work a weed edge really slow on Berryessa, what have you. That cupped face slows it down a lot. So as far as colors for these, I mainly throw this white with the yellowhead, this belly. I will throw all white, but I throw it in a different color. I'll show you, or a different bait that I'll show you here in a second. But I really want this speckled on there, something to break up that color, something to add that contrast. Again, same thing with the black and yellow. I want that contrast. That's what I'm looking for when I look at baits. As far as the top half of the bait, I'm mixed feelings on them. I kind of don't think the top of the bait matters past these lines, like the actual, if I were to paint a stripe down the top of this, I don't think it matters enough. It's not going to flag them off, especially since you're usually not working this hard enough that it gets a full roll out of it. Again, I'll carry the small ones in the just Boliwa 2.
You feel that? That was a good blow up too.
As far as cutting the tails on these, you'll notice a couple of these have cut tails, and you'll notice that some of them do not have cut tails. They'll actually go past. If you want your bait to go really solo and really subtle, leave those tails long. It doesn't walk as much. You can just pop it slow, especially if you do it with these Spit and Wahs. You can actually basically not move this and give it hard jolts enough where it like twitches, it shivers, and they'll come up and eat it. I've definitely had days that works really well. Other than that, when I cut tails, what I do is I flip it over, fold it down, cut it off at the head. That's it. I make them even, both sides. I walk it with the rod. I don't walk it by cutting one side. If you have the right rod and you hone your technique, you don't need to cut one side or the other. And I think that if you cut one side, it changes the bait and the way it walks, and it doesn't quite walk the way that I like it to. If you want to cut tails, I have zero problems with that. None of this is solid. Anything I say is just my opinion. You guys can knock it out of the park, do whatever you want, prove me wrong. I don't care. I'm probably still gonna go this way until somebody does prove me wrong, just because I'm always looking for something new.
And Jared would be like, hey, my blood sugar's high. I need a shot.
Shoot me.
Yeah. Should we leave?
One twitch.
Which one is that?
The white popping. Oh, look at that. Just coughed up. Choked that thing.
Good fish.
Choke! Now I mentioned the whites, where there's no white on the belly. When I go to that, I actually go to this Poppin' or Pipsqueak Junior, or I think it's just Pipsqueak, sorry. This bait right here, I have caught a lot of fish on. It's a really great bait. If you really want to learn a lot about this, Todd Castledine does some videos about it. He's one of the designers of this bait. It's great. It's amazing. It has, for a subtle, small bait, it has stout hooks in it. I can take 65-pound braid. In fact, I actually just recently finally bent one of these hooks. I got it stuck in a log, or stuck in the rocks and a tree, and I was yanking on it so hard it was pulling the boat, and I actually finally bent one of these hooks. And now that I know what it takes to bend this, I have zero worries about this. I'll boat flip anything on this tiny little bait. The other thing is the actual poppin' perch. This bigger profile is really good for the bigger profile. You guessed it. Walks really well. It again has that cup space, so it slows down a lot. Doesn't have to go as fast. If you want a bait that is replicating shad, that does not move and can walk back and forth, you got a choice of this one and this one, which is the pad perch. This bait, I swear it's got a swivel right here on its butt. Right here where this weight is, it just swivels. You can bounce it and it just walks back and forth. You can see here, this is kind of a translucent color. I specifically go with the translucent color when it's small shad, small bait. If they made this bait in this color, I would be ecstatic about it, but they don't make it in the small. They only make it in the big. But this really subtle, clear, when they're focusing on that small bait or they're ambushing up, this color can definitely do some damage. I do have other baits, other brands. I have Gavachos, I got KVDs, I got all that stuff. But when it comes to what I run day in, day out, it's pretty much going to be Bullywah 2, Spittin' Wah, Pipsqueak, and then the Poppin' Perch. These four, in basically these two colors. You got whites, or I should say these three colors. You got the white with the subtle belly. You got the black. You got the black dots. That's pretty much what I'm looking for. That's pretty much what I throw. I'm sure I'm going to dive more into this category later this year. Planning on joining in the UFC tournament, the Ultimate Frog Challenge on the Delta, which unfortunately, from what I'm understanding, this I'm not allowed to use. So I will have to figure out a way around it. Looking forward to making that video. And until next time, I hope you get them.
Couldn't see it in the sun.